Well, hello everyone. Alejandro Tornato here, coming directly from Beaufort, Georgia. And today it's raining cats and dogs outside, and lots of lightning and thunder. So hopefully I'll be able, to complete this lesson with you without any internet interruptions. I don't want to take too long because it's definitely the weather outside is definitely very, very, very rainy, thundery, and sometimes with this kind of weather, the internet connections may not work all that efficiently. So the lesson for today is entitled "Don't underestimate the process." Don't underestimate the process. Now, let me ask you a question. If you are serious, if you're the kind of person who is serious about personal growth, about self-development, about growing yourself in all areas of your life, I'm sure, as well as I have, and many people attended conferences, attended seminars in the physical space. Now with the coronavirus, and for quite a number of months, then we have been attending conferences virtually on the internet, and we have switched practically 95+% from being in person and attending in person and sitting in a chair listening to a speaker, to attending events and webinars online virtually. But nevertheless, if you were serious about your own personal journey, personal growth, then you have attended seminars and conferences. And let me ask you a question. When you come back, like with hundreds of people who attend, when they go back to their homes, is there a change happening in most people's lives after they attend a conference? If you go to a conference, whether you attend perhaps a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within, if you attend a Brendan Burchard conference, if you attend perhaps a Russell Brunson conference with ClickFunnels, if you attend the IMC, as I have attended the IMC several times, that's the International Maxwell Certification. So when you come back, when you are actually attending those conferences and you're sitting on that chair, on that table, and you are listening and you are so excited and you're so pumped up, and there is so much energy in the room, and you are filled with energy, not the energy from the speaker as well as the energy of the other attendees that are close to you, and you're sharing that energy, going back and forth, and you're taking notes, and you are growing and learning. Now what happens, when you get on your car or board a plane to go back home, and that perhaps level of energy and level of excitement goes down because you're just in your home and you are not surrounded with other people, and that they elevate you to a higher vibration. So what happens then? And this is what I want to talk to you about today. You see, for someone, for a speaker or for a teacher who teaches personal growth and perhaps intentional living and conquering limiting beliefs and living a limitless life and leadership. You see, one of our deepest concerns is always that some people will go home from an event, from a conference, from a seminar, and nothing will change in their lives. You see, they are there and they're so excited. But then when they go back home, there's no change happening in their lives. And that is sad. That is sad because then, in the first place, why did they attend? In the second place, it was, it was perhaps a waste of money. But even more than that, because money, you can get money back. You can recuperate the money, but it was a waste of time. And time, my friends, is something that once you lose, you will never be able to recover back. Now, they enjoy the show, but fail to implement any of the ideas presented to them. You see them taking notes, but then they don't go back to their notes in order to begin implementing those new habits, those new concepts, those new ideas, those new principles. You see, we overestimate the event and we underestimate the process. We overestimate the event and we get all hyper up. But we underestimate what is even more important, which is the process to be put in place for change to begin happening in your life. Every fulfilled dream occurred because of dedication to a certain process. You see, people naturally tend toward inertia. You see, if we are just left to ourselves, most people would just sit on a couch, turn on the TV, and then just display fully the law of inertia. They sit there and they will stay there unless there is a force that gets them out of there. But inertia will keep them in that same place. That's why self-improvement is such a struggle, because it requires an internal drive to self-improve, to keep doing things that would help you keep improving in your life. You see, self-improvement, personal growth is not something that just happens. And that is in the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, a book by John Maxwell. The very first law is the law of intentionality. And I've spoken so many times and I talked to so many people about the power of intentionality, which is completely different from having intentions. Forget about having intentions. So many people have intentions that they're never fulfilled in their lives. The intentions are there, but nothing happens. There's no change happening. So let's switch from intentions to living intentionally. And that's why the law of intentionality is there. And what does the law of intentionality says? That growth doesn't just happen. Growth doesn't just happen. You have to do something to grow. Growth doesn't come to you. You have to go toward growth. And that's how we grow in life. And that's why self-improvement and self-development is a struggle. Even as John Maxwell would say, everything worthwhile is downhill? No. Everything worthwhile is uphill. Because any object would naturally roll down a hill. It doesn't need any effort. You just put it there and it begins to roll down. Why? Because gravity acts on that object and it gets them down. Now, what happens for any object or any human being to go up a mountain? It doesn't do that. It doesn't happen naturally. You have to begin walking and exerting effort, exerting work, what in physics is called work. What is work? Well, work is, in physics, work is equal to a certain force that is acted on an object through a certain length, through a certain length. In meters or in yards or in kilometers or in miles. Okay, if you exert a force over a certain distance, you are doing work. That's what in physics is called work. And it's called work. Why? Because it doesn't happen automatically. You have to be intentional to do it. That's why going down a mountain, rolling down a mountain, doesn't take too much. Going up a mountain is a different story. So most people will grudgingly concede that they must make it through some adversity in order to succeed. And that's true. You have to go through adversity in order to succeed in life. They'll acknowledge that they have to experience the occasional setback to make any progress at all. But I believe that success comes only if you take that thought one step further. To achieve your dreams, you must embrace adversity and make failure a regular part of your life. You see, I heard it so many times, and I heard it from one of my mentors. It says, you don't have to accept failure or a setback or change. But what you have to do is you have to make it welcome into your life experience. Make failure welcome into your experience. So when failure happens, then you don't get all that uptight and angry. No, because you made it welcome. if you're not failing, you're not probably really moving forward. I remember, and with this, I'm going to wrap this lesson, this teaching on don't underestimating the process. But I remember some time ago, I think that it was maybe a couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and this person, I guess just for the tone of his voice, he was quite happy, and he was quite perhaps with a little sense of pride in what he was saying, and he was sharing with me that he was so thrilled and so happy that he had never failed, that he had never messed up in life. He had never, as far as he could remember, he had never had a setback. And when I heard that, of course, back then I did not challenge him. Perhaps I should have, but I didn't. But when on my way home, then I reflected on that, and I thought to myself, well, this is a person who claims that he has never encountered failure in his life, that he has never messed up, he has never really had a setback. And the question that came to my mind is, what has he done in his life? Has he done something worthy? Something worthy of his potential? Because let's face it, every single person has greatness and has tremendous potential to do incredible things in life. But not many people do, because not many people are willing to take a step and take a risk and see, whether it works or whether it doesn't work, and they fail. But if you never failed in your life, then the question is, what have you done in your life? Because, as we said, failure is a necessary requirement or a necessary step to get closer to success. So if you never had any failure, then have you ever succeeded in anything? And that's a good question to ask. So do not, as I close, do not overestimate any conference or any book that you read or any podcast that you listen to or any conference that you attend, even virtually, any webinar that you attend. Don't overestimate that event, but underestimate the process, underestimate the teaching, the lessons that you need to apply and implement and bring into your life, and take ownership of that for you, for your life, to move in the direction that you want to move and to eventually have the success that you aspire to have in your life. Use adversity to improve yourself and climb even higher. And climb even higher. So, thank you so very much. Alejandro Tornato signing off from Beaufort right now, and wishing you a great rest of what is left of this weekend. And I certainly wish you have a great week ahead, a very efficient, effective week ahead, prosperous week ahead, and healthy week ahead. And as I always remind you, there, if you want to contact me directly, there is my website, alejandrojtornato.com. You can also contact me and visit my page on Facebook, No Limits Living, and my group page, Conversations with Influencers. You can contact me on LinkedIn, and I encourage you, if you have not listened to my podcast, The Alejandro Tornato Show, go to Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify, and all the other known platforms. Search for it, The Alejandro Tornato Show, and you will find it. And so, my friends, as I always remind you, to live every moment, be resilient, and also be kind, be passionate, be intentional. And remember one thing, that we were not created and designed with any limitations. No limitations. So I encourage you to live your life to the fullest of your potential and capabilities, and make every single day a limitless experience. Until the next time that we meet, all the very best. Have a great evening and be well.